Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today we are thinking about transforming adversity. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is a topic of focus and what is on our minds today. And I got Courtney here who's going to help us think about this in another light so that we can continue on thinking. So, with that being said, thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on to my show, sharing your time, your perspective. I'm so grateful for this opportunity with you. Let's just go ahead and dive in. When you
Yeah.
hear the words transforming adversity, what does that make you think about?
Well, it brings me back to my past and to where I am today. I grew up in Chicago, on the South Side. We all heard of the terms, product of your environment.
Yeah.
It just kind of quickly became my living reality. And by my 21st birthday, I was incarcerated. And then again, two more times, two more convictions in like a 7 year span. And so those were the adversities that I was going through. My convictions were for drugs and violence, and just transforming from that to where I stand today. Juvenile inmate, now meditation teacher and wellness consultant. I own my own wellness spa here in Colorado Springs. And it took a lot of, day-to-day work and day-to-day activity, changing lifestyle and changing my perspective on, what I considered to be reality back then and what it is today. So a lot of work that went in to make that transformation. So
Yeah, I appreciate the honesty because let's be honest, with that, what a big jump you went through. You know what I mean? Going from the projects to now in an environment where it's just all about healing and just embodying your true self and just basking in all that you are and reversing those old beliefs. That
yeah,
really does take time. You know what I mean? And people don't acknowledge individuals like yourself who actually decided to put in the work. You know what I mean? Because you put in the work and it takes time. I mean, for you, how long was that time? And was it in like months, years? Because I'm assuming it was years. You know what I mean? So, is it in the years spectrum?
for sure. So my last conviction was in 2010.
Okay.
And that's when I began the process of seeking something greater than myself.
Okay.
Um, And I mean, it's today now, my wellness spa, like when I felt like I was ready to be of service to others, when I felt like I had, put in the work to do the transformation, then that was 2020. So me and my wife purchased the wellness spa in Colorado Springs in July of 2020, kind of in the height of COVID.
Yeah.
But I knew at that time, I just felt like I was being called. I felt like it was that time to step out and, give the knowledge that I've been given and, give this back to the community that I live in. And so that was the time that it took 10 years to get to the point where I felt like I was ready. And the last 4 years have been, even more transformational. Wasn't business savvy. Had to go through all the learning curves and growths of, owning your own small business. And just seeing the clients every day and the things that they're going through and how they leave. And, even though it's just a day of relaxation, then just seeing their change that happens in 2 to 3 hours and having an appreciation for, them telling us how appreciative they are for us to be in the community and things like that. So it's been a joy. It's been challenging, but it's been a joy.
I mean, nothing in life doesn't come with their challenge. I mean, you know what I mean? They always come with their challenges. So it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to avoid that. But it's nice to know that when you finally decided to serve, that statement, that sentence alone is so impactful because people don't realize is that when you finally let go of all of those disbeliefs, all of your why you can't, and you're like, you know what? I got to do it for somebody else. I have to
Yeah.
serve the world. I have to serve my community. I have to serve more than just myself and you get away from that selfish mindset, it
Yeah.
really does a traumatic effect in your life because you help these individuals, these clients who come into your business for meditation and relaxation, and that makes a ripple effect in their lives, in their families, in their own communities, and what they're part of, so you cannot ever discredit what you do in this world and what your impact is, because it is truly an impact. But why share your story? You know what I mean? Why come on my podcast, and I'm assuming others, and share your story about adversity when you could honestly just kept it to yourself and just have it in your little, like, in your little box in your mind, like that's my past, that's what I did. But why share it?
Yeah, I think it's a symbol of hope. I needed that symbol myself. When I was in prison that last time, I just kind of took some time to, I didn't grow up with religion, but I didn't know where to start. And I felt like that was like a foundational level. And I remember reading something, John 14:12, where Jesus mentioned, not only will my disciples do the works that I've done, but they'll do greater things. And I remember feeling this like, one conviction inside that I had more potential that I wasn't living up to. And just those words alone gave me hope to just step out. And at first it was just like, I just don't want to go back to prison. Like if
Yeah.
I get out and just not do that, then that'll be great. And then, that turned and snowballed into, things that I'm doing now. And, while everyone might not be in a physical prison, it's a lot of people in mental prisons right now, prisons of doubt and fear and
Oh,
you know, regret. And I've lived through those things as well. And so I felt like it was just time to tell the story. It's a story of transformation.
yeah.
And while I have the spot, with the spot for the past 4 years, we mostly have been focused on relaxation. I felt that was the best business decision, especially opening up during COVID, to just kind of give people what they want. And, people come in, spend, a couple hundred for, a few hours for the day. And I didn't feel like they were necessarily ready for the transformation, because now you have to put the work in on a daily basis of
Yeah.
meditating
Yeah.
twice a day and changing your daily habits. And, I feel now people have grown to know us in the community. They like us, they trust us. And so now it's just time to get the story out. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. It's something that helped me propel to where I am today. And, yeah, so it felt like it was time, and that's what I started last year. So started to tell the story, started to teach meditation at the spa as well, and add on my degree background is in Ayurveda, which is a system of healthcare from Eastern India,
Oh,
and I
nice.
wanted to bring more of these things out, but I felt like they needed to know me a little bit better first.
Yeah, yeah. And I think your story is relatable. You know what I mean? Your story is very relatable. And what I love the most is when you said, hope. You know what I mean? You're ready to give hope back into the world. And I think it just goes back to you wanting to serve. You know what I mean? You're serving the youth, you're serving the community, you're serving any person who has that they're now, you know what I mean? Because there's so many people who live in circumstances, who are young and can't control, but are thrown with these labels that you're never enough. This is all that you're gonna do. This is all that you're gonna be. You might as well just settle in and just get with the program. And it's just like these disbeliefs, these labels, you know what I mean? We have to confront them. We have to, go headstrong on them like a ram, you know what I mean? And realize, like, no, you are not going to define me. And I think your story is great because it reminds others that your circumstance right now doesn't define you. What you've been through does not define you. Those labels that are maybe on your records for the rest of your life, they don't
Yes.
define you. You know what I mean? You can be a better man because that's your choice. You know what I mean? You can be a better human being because that's your choice. You can do this. And I think that is truly a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I also liked how you also stated you wanted to show people who you are first before you started expanding your business in other avenues, because I'm pretty sure you already have a list. You and your wife, you probably brainstormed and have a notebook of your ideas of how God's going to use you guys to do great things. And it's just like, but it's like you got to take those steps. You got to take those baby steps. And when you reveal your heart for who you are and
Yeah.
allow people to see your vulnerable state, you're going to realize who's there because it's worth for them and
Yep.
who doesn't because you know what, they're not ready for that. vulnerability for who they are. So it's never something about you, it's always about that other person. So it's a beautiful testimony that you have to share. I mean, in your opinion, why do you think it's so hard to reject labels?
That's a good question. I mean, I first had to take like responsibility, right? For
Mm,
um
mm-hmm.
I say a product of environment, but like the things that I did that got me into the places that I was in, it was my fault. Like I had to first take responsibility for, okay, it was my actions that got me to these places. So if I want to, go to where I'm going, it's also going to be my actions that get me there.
Yeah.
And so the responsibility was a big piece. And it was something that I had to like face head on. And I was labels that was there from, family and friends. Uh, but that was okay. So I took that on for myself, and that gave me strength and like perseverance to like say, well, man, I can do, I feel I have more potential if I put the work in. That is nothing that I really can accomplish. And I remember like making that prayer to Jesus because I can't necessarily say like that's a big statement. You can do
Yeah.
greater works than Christ. That's big, especially I'm sitting in prison for the third time when I'm reading this. But the little
Yeah.
bit of faith that was mentioned that I had, it was
Yeah.
enough. And I remember making a sincere prayer, like, Jesus, if you are this person they say you are, then just guide me.
Yeah.
And there's no place I won't follow. And so that was like the beginning of my seeking. And I was surprised where it led me to like the Eastern Indian traditions, more
Yeah.
labels, you know.
Yeah.
But I got past all of that. I felt like intuitively this was the message that I was getting. This is where I
Yeah.
should be going. And then I
Yeah.
just kind of started doing the science on myself. Like, all right, here's the daily routine. Here's all this information and knowledge of how to align my mind and body with the laws of nature to have greater success and be more efficient in life. And I started doing them, and it happened. And so I started getting excited, like, oh man, this is like in a project on myself. I can do these scientific results, like research on myself and see how these
Yeah.
things are. And I just continued to get more and more success as I went along. And it was less effort involved as well. So
That's a beautiful. I love it. I love it because oh my goodness, so many great points. Where do I even begin? Oh my goodness, because you talked about it like you had little faith and all I thought about it was like a seed. Like you prayed
it,
to God, you gave him your heart and you were vulnerable, trusting in the unknown. And God was like, "Okay, I'll take it." And he grew it in the direction that he needed it to. It doesn't
yes,
matter about the labels because I know there's always taboos with certain things because people think of God in this one box and it's like, no, don't let these boxes define what God can do in you. Allow God to nourish that intuition, that gut feeling of where you need to go, wherever you need to go, because you know what? It's not for everybody,
uh,
but it's for you. And
yes,
when it's for you, it's going to work the way that it worked for you. And that is a beautiful thing. And I hope it reminds people that let God just do his work. You know what I mean? If you're
yeah.
willing, just submit yourself and then he'll do the work and oh, the beauty and the wonders that will come out of you. Am I right? Oh, it's a beautiful relationship. It's very personal, but when you get to have these moments and just reflect and it's like, wow, yes, that was our God because that was not me.
When yeah. That's that
That's
mustard seed, though. When you said the seed is the faith of a mustard seed, is really all that was needed. That's as much as I had, and it grew and grew into a faith, and that faith grew to belief, and that belief grew to a knowing, and that's how I live my life these days. So,
Yeah, I appreciate that because now you can have compassion and understanding, and when you talk to somebody and you know where they are in their life, and it's like, I don't know, life is just different when you're at that level of knowing and moving with discernment and with purpose and with intention. It's a different way of living life where it's just like you have such an empathy and compassion with others, where it's like things just brush off your shoulder like the wind. You know what I mean? It's just literally right there, like, oh yeah, it was just the wind.
uh,
So I guess I gotta ask you, what would be a superpower? If you could have any type of superpower, what would be a superpower that you would want?
I do want it. It's not what I would want, it's what I want. Um, so
It's a
Jesus,
thinker.
no, it's so Jesus mentioned like, okay, that we can do the same works or greater works. And so when I was looking at it, I spent that year in the Bible and I'm reading about all these superpowers and miraculous works that he's done. And
Yep.
so, he's walking on water and healing the sick and raising the dead, all these things. But the thing was like for me, the walking on water piece. And then as he began to show me this path, one of the techniques of meditation, it's like an advanced program of the meditation that I do, is it's called the Siddhi program. Siddhi means
Okay.
supernatural abilities,
Okay.
and one of them is levitation. It's yogic flying actually, but one of them is levitation. That's like the beginning stages of it. And so it's when I first heard about this. And someone was actually teaching a technique for it. Like I was reading about it in the ancient text, but then someone that I found out was actually teaching a technique about this, and I'm like, who has the audacity to actually talk about this and teach about this? And he has a worldwide following. So that was intriguing for me. And then when I actually went there to the university and where this was being taught at, then I saw Oprah Winfrey. She was in this dome and she's meditating there and they were talking about yogic flying. And I'm like, hold on, I need to look deeper into this. So, um,
Yeah.
levitation, flying
Levitation,
for
flying.
sure. Yeah.
Levitation and flying.
Yeah.
That is interesting. So you
I
gave me
think
your
so. That's what I want to say. I believe that, and it's also a part of the text. But I believe that for humanity to be able to see, because what he's saying is this is the normal ability of being a human, and it's the same thing that Jesus was saying. And so for people as a human race to see that this is actually what humanity is capable of, I think that would automatically shift the consciousness of people to be able to then be able to start to change the world in different ways. And so when I say hope, to be that symbol of hope, uh, for humanity to see that this is possible, is levitating or flying, and anything. The cities are ability to be able to one transcend, bring your mind within. I always think of the kingdom of heaven is within, and seek that first, and all things will be added on to you. And so I found a technique to transcend, bring the mind beyond the sensory perception, and then learn how to think and act from that level so that anything that you desire can manifest. And for me, starting in a prison and hearing Jesus say that this is our ability, and then being led to a place where they're actually teaching techniques to do this, I was just in awe. And so that's the first thing that I would feel as
yeah.
a superpower. And once I can see that that's the reality, then it's much more.
Oh, I understand. That's very deep on multiple levels because if you really think about it and you're putting it in, let's be honest, you could put it in a lot of situations, but from where I'm thinking about it when you were talking, it made me think about how it's literally being above the surface level of life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because so many people are just living on the surface level of greed, sex, lust. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It could be
Yes.
all the sins if you really want to talk about it.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? If you really want to break it down. So it's just like to be above that and to think of flying and levitating and just being above just the what drags you down as your soul that doesn't really need all of this hot mess that we entertain ourselves with, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's a very deep level because I was before you were about to say something, I was gonna say, but why flying? But then you just answered it when you said, um, when you were talking about how it's about being above. And I was just like, goodness, that is a beautiful statement because it also shows that you are allowing God to use you in impossible ways. If you can and cannot do it, I don't know. I'm not here to tell you that you can't do it, and I'm not here to
Yeah.
tell you that you can do it. All I'm telling you is that allow God to do whatever that you know in your heart God wants you to do and allow Him to do the impossible because God will use the most unlogical individual to do the most impossible things to get his glory. And if you're allowing the God to gain the glory and you're not gaining the glory for yourself, then you're doing the right thing, right? And that's
Thank you.
how I see it. Because as
Yes.
long as God gets the glory for what you're doing and you allow yourself to be the open vessel for him to do his work with you, may
Mm.
God use you till he's done with you. You know what I mean? So he no longer needs you. May God use you. Because that is a beautiful thing to just offer yourself to God and just to even allow yourself to go to that extreme because I never thought about it at that extent. Like I ask people all the times about superpowers, all the time. So that's nothing new. And I think about it all the time, but I never actually thought about the practice and the research and the science of the possibilities of maybe it could be possible. I mean, you read the World Guinness records and it's like they talk about the most impossible things happening. You know what I mean? So it's like, why can't you allow God to do that?
Yeah.
What do you really want? Oh my goodness, I swear we could go deeper in this in a whole nother rabbit hole of a direction, but we're gonna stop because time is catching up to us. So what could be some lasting words of wisdom that you can leave us off with to keep on thinking, Courtney?
Just start wherever you are. Start now. Don't waste the time. I think that it is, if you really do have the faith, that anything is possible. And so just find out where you are right now. What do you desire most? Because once you start down this path, you'll start to see that those desires become fulfilled. That you have to put forth less effort, that you'll be more efficient at things that you're looking to accomplish. And that wasn't like the beginning. Like first, it was just like, again, I just don't want to go back to prison. And then it was like, okay, well, I want a house, I want a family, I want a business, and whatever those things are, God, creator, source will bring those things to you if you put your faith in him. You seek him first. You seek that kingdom of heaven first. And I'll tell you that it is within. That's why we're made in this image of God, made in this image of the creator, is because I look at it as we are a soul, which is an individualized aspect of spirit. And we have this body and we have this mind, and they can either be your greatest resource or they can be your worst enemy. And it depends on how you use them and how you align with them. And start. Just get the journey started. Ask for guidance. Don't be afraid to always ask. Praying is great. Meditation is just as great. I think of praying as asking, but meditation is placing you in a position where you can hear, the answers that you're looking for. And without both of them together, you're just out, praying and never getting, what you're seeking. I think they go hand in hand. And yeah, start now.
Yeah, I like it. I'll accept it. I'll take it to the bank. I think you made a few points that were so great. But I think overall people just need to really think about this. You know what I mean? Think about all of the adversity that they've been through because everybody has adversity, everybody has trauma, everybody has situations in their life. But it's like you said, start with those little milestones. Start with that accountability you were talking about, that
Yeah.
self-awareness. You know what I mean? Owning up to it, recognizing the wrongs you've done and you know what I mean, and learning how to fix it. Nothing nothing is not fixable. You know what I mean? Because even plastic can be recycled, metal can be recycled, even after it being used. You can be recycled too. You know what I mean? Like we can be
Yes.
transformed in such a way that we really don't think about it. So yes, I gotta stop talking because we're gonna go into a whole nother topic. And I'm just like, oh Lord. Oh, anyways, if y'all want to know more about Courtney, please check him out. Go check out his website. I have it on my website under his photo. Just click right there. So you have all the access that he has to offer the world so that you can keep on thinking. So with that being said,